Hello and welcome to Extra Vibes, the show that gives you extra content.
I'm so pleased you're sticking with that.
I am
It's
sticking with it.
very.
I've put my flag in the ground. That is it. That's what it is now. We're stuck with it.
Oh, we can't be perfection, can you? It's very similar to like having
Yeah.
as a slogan for a fishing tackle shop. Like we are the fishing tackle shop. We sell fishing tackle.
Exactly. It is
No
what it
messing about.
says on the tin. You know?
You know what you're gonna get. But yeah, this is
Exactly.
this is extra vibe, and yeah, we're
Mm.
doing another top 10, aren't we, Mr. Vasey?
Yes, this time we're doing the top 10 best new guitarists that are out there.
This was bloody hard.
It was hard.
It
I
was a
was
bloody
surprised
nightmare.
because we came up with this subject and we were like, yeah, that would be a great one. And then I sat down to create the list. And I was like, whew, like there are definitely like 5 or 6 in there. But then I was starting to struggle on names. I had to go looking.
My issue, I had the opposite issue where I had quite a big, large collection of names, and I just struggled to solidify them in my top 10 because it's that battle, like with the vocalist one, of our own personal preferences and who we think are maybe are the best top 10 breakthrough artists. At the end of the day, it's only our opinion, and it's. I mean, I've got some honourable mentions for this list that didn't make it in my list.
It's like a memorial list.
Yeah. So I've got
those that didn't get there.
Those that didn't get to June.
Yeah.
So my honourable mentions was Gary Clark Jr.
Right.
His solo career. Massive Gary Clark. I've been listening loads to Gary Clark Jr. because he's just his first album, which most people love, is kind of very strong fuzzy blues. But then I've been listening to I can't remember the name of the bloody album, but he then went into like this reggae sort of sound, and then his most recent album, This Land, was kind of a mixture of all of it, and I think that won a Grammy. And he's just so sort of like he did this live album where he plays. It's basically just when it was just pure blues, and his playing's just so expressive and amazing.
Yeah.
It's not the most like it's not like Joe Satriani or anything like that. It's so, the expression he gets is so blues. It's just fucking killer, man. Jack McEwen from Psychedelic Porn Crumpets. Have you never heard of Psychedelic Porn Crumpets? Killer band, man. So they're like psychedelic sort of fuzz rock, Australian, that whole psychedelic Australian movement. And he plays a jazz master, loads of octave effects, loads of like synth kind of stuff, and it's just really cool. Now my other honourable mention, Mike Kerr from Royal Blood, but he plays a bass, but he plays it through a guitar amp. It's basically a guitar, so there's a bit of a question mark on that.
Yeah, it's a bit muddy, isn't it?
Yeah, and then finally Parker Griggs, who's in a band called Radio Moscow, which is very sort of Jimi Hendrix sort of psychedelic rock sort of stuff. So yeah. But yeah, they didn't make it in my top 10. So now let's find out who made it in our top 10s. You can lead the way.
Who came in above? Right, I'm going to start off with number 10 with a guy that we've had on the show, but in like relatively early days. I'm going to throw in Jack Edwards of Piston.
Ooh, very good shout.
Because, he's... Like, I've listened to their material, and you can see there's a real progression in his overall.
Spoke about it in the interview, didn't he?
And he did speak about it as well. And they've just released like a live EP where each week they've been releasing a track, and it really kind of the band as a whole, it really like brings across their overall sound and stuff a lot better than anything they've done previously. And you can really feel the energy in his guitar playing, and he's very much my kind of guitarist. He's got that whole kind of like kind of Guns N' Roses-esque kind of style.
Well, he's in a Guns N' Roses tribute band, wasn't he?
Yeah, but he's becoming more and more of his own thing now. He's doing his own he's got his own thing going on, and I feel that over the next few years, him and possibly the band as well are going to really like climb that tree more. I do feel
I agree completely with everything you said, man. Like I feel like he's a lot of these younger breakthrough guitarists, I look and
Mm.
think, right, if I was a bigger band,
Yeah.
say someone like Alice Cooper or Whitesnake, and who tend to
Who are
bring
you
in
gonna
younger
get?
guitarists,
Yeah.
who are you going to pick up? And if I was a band, I'd pick Jack straight up, man.
Mm.
He's particularly because he's rocking the Falcon as well. He's like you say, he's starting to build his own image and his own character, which I think is very essential if you're going to be like a legendary guitarist. You think of the legendary guitarists of
That's
time
it.
gone by, Slash, Brian May. All got Zach Wires with the bullseye. They've all got
Mm.
things that make them characters and individual. That can be represented by one single thing, like the guitar or a hat. And
This is
Jack's
it, and
starting to form that.
yeah, I think outside of his actual like guitar playing ability, if you're looking at that kind of iconicness, like
Mm,
Slash in the past and like people like that. He's got his own thing going now. He's worked on his physique. He's got the leather jacket. As you say, he's got the Falcon, and it's
cool,
like
man.
I can see in like 10 years' time, kids trying to copy that. You know what I mean? They're trying to like dress up like him now. So it's like I feel that could be it could be one of those ones moving up the echelons there. So yeah, that's my number
That's
10.
cool. Mine's also a new wave classic rock band. Also a band we had in the early days.
Mm.
But I think it was earlier than Piston. It's Hayden Kirk at the Howling Tides.
Yes, that's
Yeah, so
yes.
so we've Rivers have gigged with Tides since the beginning, like when they were called Anonymous. Like we've got a group chat and all that bullshit, and
Mm.
and even from the first time we saw them, like I was really into Hayden's playing. Like he's such a cool player, man, and he plays a Les Paul DC Junior, which is a completely original thing. You don't see a lot of people playing DCs in like the P90s. He plays it into a Marshall JTM 845, and it gives him this really classic rock tone, and
Mm.
not a massive amount of gain either. And he's just so expressive and such a great sort of like, and he's a great rhythm player as well. When it comes in the riffs. And Rob, the singer, also plays guitar. He's also a fantastic guitarist. But
Mm.
Hayden's got this character, this identity about him. And yeah, I've always, since the early days of gigging, I've always thought he was a fantastic guitarist, and he's just got better over the years, and he's such a nice lad as well. He's very different to Jack because Jack's very much forming into that sort of rock star character and
Yeah.
identity, which is cool. Whereas Hayden's a bit more of your Gary Moore, where it's like
Mm.
it's all about his playing and all about the performance and what he gives to the crowd and the band. And I like that. It's more of a workhorse guitar. It's a different identity. And yeah, big shout out to Hayden. Love you, man.
Mm. And a regular listener of the podcast as well. So
He's a
extra
good lad, then, isn't he?
extra love for that. Right. My number 9 is somebody that didn't make it into your list, but I believe was in your honorable mentions just a moment ago.
Right.
Uh, it is Gary Clark Jr.
Oh, very nice. Very
Yes,
nice.
because I mean, pretty much as we agreed a minute ago, where that first album, it's that real kind of classic, kind of Jimi Hendrixy
A lot of
vibe about him.
Hendrix, yeah.
Yeah, I really dug that first album. I thought it was great.
Yeah, I
Uh,
imagine you vibing on that and then maybe struggling a little bit with some of the later stuff.
yeah, he's gone
I think a
off.
lot of people did.
Yeah, he's gone off into like a different direction, which isn't to my taste. But if we're looking at in terms of ability, in terms of people that have broken through, um, he definitely fits that bill, doesn't he? Like, he just exploded really at the time, and now he's continued going upwards. I mean, he's gone off into arguably a different kind of genre now, but who
Yeah.
knows where he's going to go next? Really,
Well,
he
he
could.
changes, yeah, like you say, he changes all the time, and nobody knows what his next album's going to be.
This is it.
And I quite like that. As a
Mm.
songwriter, as much as he's fantastic. He's just so cool, man. And that album that I can remember the name of now, the story of Sonny Boy Slim, is just
Mm.
is kind of it's got so many different shades to it. And yeah, I mean, it's like this is kind of top 10 best rock guitarist, and I do think he's a fantastic rock guitarist. He falls
Yeah.
into blues, reggae, many different things, but I do think at his core he's just a fantastic rock guitarist and a fantastic character as well, very iconic. And I agree. I think in the next few years he'll just continue to rise.
Yeah, and like he made it into my list because I like a guitarist that can really show their versatility, whether all of it is my taste or not. I like somebody that can go, oh, I'll do a bit of this, I'll do a bit of that, and he's definitely displayed that. So he's my number 9.
And my number 9 is probably, it's weird you said versatility, probably the most versatile guitarist I've got in my list. It's Novella, a female guitarist, does mainly instrumental. And the reason I got into her was through my love for guitar pedals. So Novella has a massive pedal board, full of stuff that recreates organs, synths, lots of delays and pad stuff, and she incorporates all that into a guitar. Rather than being a guitar, is this kind of is this vessel for loads of different sounds. It's completely different than anybody else I've got on this list. I'm pretty sure she plays a violin bow as well and does like a Jimmy Page thing, and she just creates these epic fucking soundscapes, man, and they're amazing. Like, and she was in the most recent Pedal movie, talking about her love for effects, and I think she's a real pioneer for creativity and and utilizing everything at your disposal to take it to this next level. She does a lot of movie soundtracks as well, and just a different, for me as a guitarist, a really different inspiration than most of the people I've got on this list. And she inspires me to think out of the box a little bit, and challenges a lot of people to do the same. So yeah, it's a bit of a different one.
Yeah, it's good to have those different shades in there, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
My number 8, prepare yourself for the butchering of this surname.
I'm very excited.
Oh, it's gonna be amazing. He's probably gonna kill me for this. Kevin Comeu, I believe. I'm gonna go with that. Kevin Comeu.
That sounds all right.
That sounds right. If I'm
Don't
wrong,
sound offensive.
yeah. Of Crownlands. Now I've put him in because again, it goes back to this versatility thing, because he plays that double neck thing where it's like a bass and a guitar. And then he has the foot pedals. That's, I don't know how this works. I mean,
he's playing bass notes, I think, with alongside like synth pads. I think it's hooked up to a synth actually. It's just Rush did it in the 80s as well, and I know there's a lot of Rush influence there.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of Rush influence there, but it's for me there's that kind of a. I mean, in my list, he's the only one that's doing multiple things at the same time.
Yeah, man, 100%.
And I really like that kind of. He does it in that Fearless Context Part 1 video, where he's playing the guitar, doing his thing, and then he just can change like that and just start playing bass as well. And it's like, I can't play either of these things, and he's doing 2 of them at the same time. It's like.
I saw an interview with them where somebody asked, like, live, what's the situation? Do you have the next session players in? And he said, no, it's literally
does it himself.
Yeah, we want to recreate it exactly as it is on record, and we do that live, and I think that's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, and he's in there because I feel he just offers something different, and again, it goes back to this iconicness. He's made his own thing there, really. Like, I don't see many people that are doing bass and guitar at the same time.
That are playing a double neck bass whilst also playing synth.
This is what I'm saying. I just don't see this, and it's something fresh, but he's drawing his inspirations from these people from the past that were iconic in their own right, and they've obviously, the band as a whole, the 2-piece, they've got their own kind of look going on that's kind of very retro-y, but I really like the direction they're going in. Again, in some ways you don't know what you're going to get from them. They've changed a bit over time. I'm really looking forward to seeing where they're going. But him as an individual, he's in there for me. So that's my number 8.
No, it's a good choice, man. Mine is Jake Kiska of Greta Van Fleet. I think it was inevitable that Jake was going to be in one of our lists, because I think in terms of like breakthrough guitarists, he's kind of up there. I mean, the thing that I like about Jake is that he plays with barely any gain. He's really trying to recreate, and I'm really big on that because I play with quite a lot of gain, and I'd struggle to do a Rivers gig without a lot of gain. because it's hard work, man. And he's trying to really recreate them classic guitar tones of the late '60s, early '70s, where they just have a really loud amp. So he has a Marshall, I think he has a Marshall Astoria, and he basically just cranks that so that it's recreating, it's organic gain, based on how much volume you're able to get out of it. And then he has boost pedals. I think he's got like a Dallas Arbiter, which is meant to recreate Angus's sort of wireless pack. And he's got a few different bits, but it's mainly just like two pedals on the floor, his amp and his guitar. And even his guitar is being held together by some tape.
Yes.
It's like, which is amazing, And I think Greta gets so much shit, but like that album, The Battle at Garden's Gate, like even though we felt that it kind of had too many shades that were very similar, the songwriting and the architectural kind of guitar work and how it interlinks is amazing, particularly for his age.
Yes.
It's just epic, and he's a fantastic songwriter. And I've got a lot of time for him, man. I think he's great.
No, I think that's a solid shout there. Yeah, I can't argue with that. My number 7, here he is. It is Scott Holiday of
Yes.
Sons.
Surprised he's that low.
I put him lower down because I feel that when it goes like he serves the band, if that makes sense. So like he's not the kind of guy that's going to go off on some like, I don't know, 20-minute guitar solo and go mental. He's very kind of, he serves the song, and he's already having this thing of like I mean we've spoke about it before with Robinsons in general, where people always cite them as influences.
Yeah.
And I think he's already moving up into that category now.
100%.
With that kind of fuzziness in his tones and just that start. I mean, I can't really sum it up in a guitarist way, but like for me, as just like a listener, he has this kind of rawness and this fuzziness that not other people were doing, but now like 5 or 6 years later, we're starting to see people doing the same kind of thing in certain songs and stuff. And I think that's a mark of somebody that's really kind of moved up a tier now, when you're getting people 100%. Copy that or imitate that in certain ways. So yeah, he's there, but he's not as high up because I don't know. It was tough creating this list, but I think
I'm not pinning you up for it.
I mean, for me, my personal taste for like an iconic guitarist, I like somebody that's kind of going to like go off on like a major solo or something, or have this kind of big moment. I don't think he quite does that, but he has his own thing going on, and I respect him for that. Plus, he has great style, which I like. I like that confidence.
He does have great style.
Yeah.
I disagree in terms of that kind of great guitarist thing, but we'll come to that.
I'm sure he's like
if he is in my list, and we will find out. We'll find out. Right, what are we on number 7? My number 7 is a guitarist called Rabia Massad.
Right.
So Rabia rose to prominence playing guitar for the guitar shop, Andertons, who kind of pioneered the whole sort of guitar shop, YouTube guitar demos evolution that appeared around sort of 2005 on YouTube, and it was himself and Rob Chapman. And Chappers was kind of the main guitarist, but I've never been a massive fan of Chappers. Whereas Rabia has kind of took off into his own thing, like he runs his own channel, and he does a lot of he plays in a band called Tosca. They're fucking amazing. Yes. It's purely instrumental, but just like very ambient soundscapes, lots of effects and reverb, very heavy. He's fantastic. He's probably the heaviest player in terms of like metal that I have on my list, because it's not a massive part of my taste, but it's very hard to play metal well, and he's immensely precise, and he's amazing songwriter. He's so creative, and he's like, his channel is for me exactly how to do that sort of YouTube thing, because he gives enough of himself, gives advice, gives very sort of honest demos, as well as kind of celebrating different brands, and he's just killer, man. I've got nothing but good words about Rabia. I think he's such a cool dude.
Is he the only kind of YouTube guitarist in our list? Because if so,
But
that's really the sign of the times, isn't it? Like we've kind of moved into that realm. Just interesting.
I mean, there's quite a few of these guitarists that I've got that are Instagram guitarists that I've found through Instagram. Rabia I found through YouTube, but Novella I found through Instagram initially, when I was kind of following a lot of hashtags around pedals and stuff, and some of the players that will come across later on I found through Instagram. So there's definitely still a generation pouring through, you know, I think of guitarists. You know, it's just maybe it's changing from YouTube now to Instagram and obviously TikTok with reels and stuff.
Well, it's interesting that now, you know, like obviously back in the day we had none of this, but now we're getting kind of this wave of musicians in general that are coming through social media that are breaking through, you know, either Instagram or YouTube or whatever it is. But I feel it, I mean, from my position anyway, I feel it's this kind of first generation that's probably just purely getting it through there and then going on to do it. So it's kind of backwards.
Yeah.
It's interesting. My number 6 is it is Jake, isn't it? Jake Kiska of Greta Van Fleet. I had a moment of doubt there for some reason. Very much similar reasons. As what you said, he's very much got that kind of Jimmy Page influence in there. Definitely.
It's very hard to play like Jimmy Page, though, man. Like,
but it is. You know, this is what I was just about to say. It's
very bloody hard.
It's all well and good. People going, "Oh, he sounds like Jimmy Page." I was like, "Well, that's quite good." You know, to be able to do that. I mean, he's still very young. You know, it's. I mean, I've been fortunate enough to see them live twice, and the first time I saw them, they were in this tiny little venue that was essentially a bar. Really, it was like 250 people in there, and I don't think they even filled it. And you know, I wasn't very far away, but you can see what he's doing, you know, really close up. And it is, as you say, it's very old school. Like he's, you know, there's not much going on in terms of like trying to hide. It's very clean, just like amp, guitar, you know. But yeah, I have a lot of time for him, and for me, the thing that's moved him up, like he would have been perhaps lower on the list because they haven't done a tremendous amount yet. But I feel he's moved up with this recent album, despite the fact that I've kind of been in two minds about it. Because if you just look at him from a guitar perspective, like particularly the last track, Weight of Dreams, it just shows like there's real kind of maturity in the way he plays. And he's come on so much since that initial EP.
Yeah, so when you compare the two of them, yeah, massive.
This is it. So it'd be interesting, like, I don't know, 5 years on, where's he going to be then? You know, because he's still very early in his career. So he's at my number 6 for now, but he may move up. So yeah.
Cool. My number 6 is a guitarist called Chris Turpin, who plays in a duo called Ida May. It's himself and his partner. And Chris is another one that I discovered probably about 5 years ago through Instagram. Amazing slide player. But he plays with with picks you'd play a banjo with. He plays it and he'll play a slide. But he does this awesome thing where he'll get like a really old sort of like 50s, 60s Gretsch or a K or something like that, or a Tesco, and he'll put it through some old fuzz pedal, and he gets this awesome sort of like, it's that, like you say, it's that generation of that Gary kind of, you know, kick-started a little bit of that very sort of bluesy, very dirty fuzz sound. And but he does it in like a bit more of a acoustic sort of, you know, dynamic, which is killer, you know. And he's him and his partner, you know, with Ida May, is just the entire sound of the band just personifies cool. And we're both big fans of slide, and I really appreciate a fucking good slide player. And Chris is probably my favorite that I've got on this list. He's probably one of my favorite songwriters on this list as well. You know, it's a different thing. Like it's not riff based. It's more chord based and more open tunings. And yeah, he's just killer, man. If nobody's heard of them, check them out. Ida May, IDAMAE. God, that was hard work. Fucking hell, I thought I was never going to get to the end of that.
We're forever trapped. I haven't heard of them myself, so I'll check them out.
You'd like them,
especially when you say slide, because people that do know me.
His ears will prick up.
Yeah, I'll go slide in that. I'll go and check them out. So, fair enough. My number 5. It's the guy that we had on very early days.
It's getting good. This is now top 5.
I know we're getting tough. This is where it got really hard for me in particular. For now, he's at number 5, but I think he's going to move up this list. The more he does, he's only at number 5 because we've only had one album out of him at the minute. It's Danny De La Cruz. Danny De La Cruz of Inglorious. He's in there because he's a great guitar player. It's ridiculous. And he's so young as well. It's, I look at him and go, it's that annoyance when somebody's
disgrace.
I'm just disgrace. But yeah, he's a great guitarist, and I think he's elevated Inglorious to another level as well. And I think that's a mark of a really good guitarist when you can just come in.
Great comment.
Yeah, you can come into a band that's already been about. They've already got themselves established, and then you go, oh, guess what? Here's a killer riff. Here's a killer riff for this leading single. Like what we had in that conversation with Can't Let You Go. And, Let You Go. But he's a great guitarist. I think he's going to move up this list. But for now, he remains at number 5 purely because he's only had one album. I think it'd be unfair to put him higher.
That's very fair. That's very fair. Now, when we started this, I actually swapped out my number 5. Right. Somebody just come to my mind. Now, initially, I had Philip Sayce as number 5. I've took him out. He's gone.
Oh, he's not in the list.
He's not even in the list. I've took him out because I don't. But the trouble is, I didn't want to take anyone else out because I'm really keen on everyone who's in my list. So
how can you go from? Oh, he's the 5th best to being no, he's not. He's not even my 10th.
Well, I have a sneaking suspicion he's probably in yours, so I don't mind him, and I don't think this person's going to be in yours. So I wanted to mention it, because I felt it was necessary, and it's Tyler Bryant,
right?
Tyler Bryant to the Shakedown.
Yes,
Tyler's just a fucking unbelievable guitarist. Like you said about Danny, and it's a similar thing. Like as a guitarist myself, when you see someone play guitar, I want to feel the ends of my toes curl, and I want to go, "Oh, you fucker! Oh, you bastard!" Yeah. Like, and Tyler does that. Like he plays a pink strap. He's got one with single coils and one with a humbucker in the bridge, and when he plays, he's just fully into it, fully immersed in what he's doing, And I struggle with Tyler Bryant the Shakedown on record because I just don't think it showcases what they do live. Like I saw him support Cadillac 3, and he just leads from the front. In the download, he's in the crowd. He's soloing in front of the crowd. He's, for me, an iconic guitarist of years gone by. Like you don't know what he's going to do, and he's just killing it. As you said, you're saying about wanting someone that stands, that leads from the front, does that sort of epic guitar solo, and he does all of that. The bit of fuzz in there as well. Great songwriter. So yeah, like I say, it was a difficult one because it probably doesn't make sense for me to chuck Philip Sayce out from number 5, completely out of the list. But like I say, I have a sneaky suspicion that because I know you're a big Sayce fan, but so we'll see. But yeah, I just felt like Tyler had to be in there. As soon as I realised it, I was like, I've got to get him in there no matter what.
That's a fair shout. He's not a guy that I've majorly checked out. I know of him, but I'll go check him out more now. Cool. My number 4, here we go. This is a guy that even just a few months ago I wasn't even aware of. So he's shot into my list. So it's the
at number 4.
Yeah,
shot in at number 4.
He's flown in because
big statement.
This epitomizes breakthrough for me, and I think he's on the cusp of breaking through. It's Troy Redfern.
Good choice. Forgot about Troy.
Because again, everybody knows that I am partial to slide, and he is, without sounding like ridiculous, bold claims, he is one of the best slide guitarists I've seen to date. He's really, really impressed me. And the more I look through his back catalogue, and obviously he's got this new album coming out that's on another level already. He's definitely, he's just got Planet Rock playtime now. He's really breaking through, and I think in the next couple of years he'll be climbing that tree very, very nicely.
Great shout. Forgot about Troy. I watched a clip of him at Love Rocks Festival.
Yeah.
And
he just looks like a veteran guitar player,
I don't know. I didn't know he could shred.
This is it. He's got
when
everything.
When he puts the slide down, he was like, I was watching this video and I was thinking, that's not Troy, is it? And then I was thinking, it could be Troy. And I was trying to work out if it was his band with him. And then I saw a picture of him afterwards with Peter from New Era Classic Rock, and he was wearing the same clobber of the geezer who was shredding on the video I just watched, and I was like, "Fuck, it is Troy."
Yeah,
so he's definitely 100%. One of the breakthrough guitarists just for his slide and his overall sort of playing.
Yeah.
And he's just badass as well, isn't he?
But this is it. Like, he's a whole package. He's got, like as we mentioned before there with guitarists gone by, they all kind of have a signature look, and I think he's got his own thing going on there. It's very retro-y and kind of old school. But if you remember before we started the episode with Troy, and we looked at some pictures and stuff, I was like, he looks like something out of Red Dead Redemption, he's got this kind of Western look to him, and he's got this badass look, and he's got these old kind of like vintage guitar
resonator.
Yeah. And they just look, it's this whole package, and then he's a great player as well on top of it. I think he's destined for some big things in the future. So he's shot into my number 4.
Fantastic, great choice, man. Fair. My number 4 is someone you've mentioned already. It's Mr. De La Cruz.
From
not Glorious.
Far off our prediction.
No, not at all. I mean, Danny's similar to Tyler. Like, whenever I see him play, I just think, "Oh, you bastard!" Jamming stuff. Like, he's such a good player; it's unbelievable. And as you say, I think what you all comment about how he elevated in Glorious is really relevant. And I think I was thinking earlier, like we said a bit with Jack, and like if I was Whitesnake, I know they're about to do the farewell tour, but if they were struggling for a guitarist, I'd get Danny in straight away. I think even a band like that, a classic band, like I think he'd make them better. And for such a young guitarist, I think that's such an amazing compliment to have. And he's technically he's outstanding. Looks really cool. He's got this iconic look about him already. Like Danny when you see him on stage. And I think I agree. I think 10 years time, whether it be with Inglorious or elsewhere, I think he'll be doing some things 100%.
No, I agree. He's, like quite a few of these guitarists on this list, I think the thing for me is they can potentially walk into any band, really. Any kind of top tier band, and I think that's a mark of like a top class guitarist. If 100%. You can just stroll in and just make things better, it's like
professionalism.
This is it.
Just sheer professionalism for someone that there's a lot of these guitarists like Jake, for example. I couldn't imagine him walking in from Greta Van Fleet. I don't think he could walk into a band and make it better, because he's very much works for Greta Van Fleet, but Danny, I just think is the ultimate professional, and he's just class, man. Class.
No, I completely agree with that.
We're on the top 3 now.
I know this is getting serious now. My top 3 I've been debating essentially all afternoon. Because it's serious. We're getting
serious, man. Yeah. I mean, people, this is bigger than the Grammys. This is.
Oh well, this is it. Like people.
Me and you sat at home.
Yeah. My number 3, I think it epitomizes this thing of you can just walk into an already established band. It's Richie Faulkner, who's obviously now.
Fucking hell, that's such a good choice, that is. Oh, bastard. Yes. Forgot about Richie.
We were debating before we started this conversation. I put my money on me going, oh, fucking hell, I've left one. But
Oh, fucking
I
hell.
may have beaten you to it on last week.
Oh, I feel really emotional about that.
Yeah.
I really like Richie Faulkner.
Because
I think he's made
this,
Priest so much better.
well, this is it though. I feel that he's come in and he's just re-energized Judas Priest. You know, this is a band that's been going on for so long. You know, and he's I feel he's just given them a new lease of life at this point. You know, they've got a new energy about them. You know, they came out with that album a while ago that's escaped my mind the title of. Um,
Oh,
you know what I
you
mean?
keep firepower, something about
Firepower is
fire.
firepower, isn't it?
Okay.
I
You
think.
keep talking. I'll go into a
Yeah, I'm
meditation
pretty
state and
sure it
find
is
out.
firepower. But yes, you know, he's come in and he's done it, and it was a killer album. You know, full
Very
of
strong, yeah.
great riffs, really strong. But he's slotted into this band, um, you know, that's been around for years. You know, and to be able to do that, you know, this is an iconic band to come in and replace KK as well is like that's
Yeah.
tough. You know, like he was a fan favorite, so you've already got like this uphill task at this point.
Yeah, man.
So to do that, win over the fans, elevate the band again, like lift them up. You know, for me, you've got to be at least in the top three for doing that. So
Yeah,
yeah.
if I'd have remembered, where would I think I'd have had him.
Yeah.
I'd have probably had him fifth. I think if I'd have
Right.
remembered.
Mm.
Yeah, I agree with everything you just said. You know, I think he's made Priest relevant
Yeah.
again. I saw
This was
Priest at
it.
Download a few years back, and I've seen Priest a lot. You know,
There's
over
an
the past sort of
energy
10 years.
that I think he's
Yeah,
brought back.
he's fantastic, man, and he suits the band so well. You know,
Mm.
he looks cool, iconic. You know, his long blonde hair. You know,
Yeah.
he's wears all the Priest sort of leather. You know, and I'm a massive Tipton fan. Like, and him and Tipton work
Mm.
so well together because you've got that new energy and that original sort of core thing. I mean, it's sad because obviously Tipton's struggling with his health as well. So I know that
Yeah.
Andy Sneap actually did a lot of the last Priest tour with him and
Mm.
Faulkner. You know, but yeah, great choice, man, really good. And he didn't do a lot before Priest. I think he was playing guitar with Lauren Harris.
Well,
Um,
this is it. Like again, it goes back to this like quintessential
truly grown.
breakthrough.
Yeah.
Like he's just strolled into a veteran band essentially, and he's just elevated them. And you
Fit
know,
like a glove. Yeah,
yeah, this is it. So yeah, C is my number
cool.
three.
My number three, and I did at one point have him top, and I
Right.
changed it.
Wow, he's dropped down 2 tiers. This guy.
It's hard. It's hard, man. And we've gigged with him. It's Jared James Nichols.
Right. Yes.
Um,
He's
so the
high.
thing with
He's very high on your list.
well, the reason he's high is like it's because like, he makes me want to be better at playing guitar.
Mm.
And he's not a flashy guitarist. He's not on probably the same level as Danny, but he's got this thing that only a few players have, like Gary Moore, Stevie Ray Vaughan, very similar to Stevie Ray Vaughan, where he's just so expressive. It's just unbelievable, and he's just like he puts so much energy. Like he grits his teeth when he's doing them bends, you know, and he fully
Yeah.
means it,
Yeah.
and he makes the guitar sing. Like he
Mm.
makes it like a vocal thing, and it's just and like he's another one that rose quite quickly through Instagram because he'd do the reels thing where he'd just shred for 30 seconds, you know, and it was
Mm.
just perfect. You know, he's very much a blues player, and his songwriting's now starting to elevate as well with that. But like he's just got an endorsement. He had an endorsement with Epiphone, and now he's working with Gibson. He's got an endorsement with
Mm.
Blackstar. He's very much sort of rising for me in the past year. 2 years whilst we've had lockdown, he has truly broken through. Like you say, like that whole thing of what a breakthrough artist is, and to do
Mm.
it by yourself as a solo artist, making
Yes.
use of technology,
Good stuff.
pioneering something like blues and making it relevant again and making it exciting and cool, for me,
Mm.
just showcases the sheer talent of him. And like, I guarantee I could show anyone a video of Jared playing guitar, whether
Mm.
they've into rock music, blues, pop music, into playing guitar, whatever, if they play guitar or don't, and they go, bloody hell, that's awesome. That for me is exactly what a legendary, iconic guitarist should be. You know, that
Yeah.
anybody can just go, that's a spectacle. Like
Yeah.
Hendrix, man. People
Yeah.
watch Hendrix and they'd just be transfixed, you know, and I think he's on that level, you know. Give it 10 years, he'll be the top of the tree in terms of
Mm.
guitarists. So yeah, Mr. Jared James Nichols.
That's cool. I can get why there.
Mhm.
top two now. We're getting very tough. This is another one that has come out of nowhere for me. My number two. In the last, like, I would say week, he's gone from
Fucking
nowhere.
hell.
I know, like, this is madness, really. That's never happened,
This is
really.
interesting.
Not in my generation. Nobody's ever shot into kind of my top tier that quick. It's Wolfgang Van Halen.
Wow.
Yeah, bold
Fucking
statement.
hell.
It's Wolfgang Van Halen.
I'd have never guessed that.
I know.
What was your second?
He's number two because
breakthrough.
I'm looking at pure guitar ability. I didn't like 2 weeks ago. I didn't even know he was that good.
Well, he's a bass player.
He's a guitarist, like predominantly now.
Yeah.
He's one of those. He's bizarre. Like, I thought he's a jack of all trades because he can play every instrument, and he's done this on this new album, Mammoth. That he's got this little solo project where he does play every instrument, but his predominant instrument when he hits the road, he is the guitarist. He is the front man.
Right.
And to be able to move out of the shadow of his father, Eddie Van Halen, arguably one of like the greatest guitar players ever.
Yeah.
Which is outrageous. Like he's doing his own thing. He's got his own style. But there's little shades of Van Halen in there that's obviously come from his father. But in a recent interview, he talked about his father actually wasn't a very good tutor. So he somehow, like, I don't know whether it's in his blood or something, but he somehow managed to teach himself how to do, like, to play. So he's like essentially self-taught. He's done this across the board with multiple instruments, but as a guitarist, he's absolutely top class. He can do like the ripping solos. He's modern. He's got this modern rock feel, like the whole band in general. And the style, it feels very modern, but it's got these kind of classic like points, you know, like it's got these kind of like solid like solos and stuff that like it hits beats. Do you know what I mean? Like, like there's in particular the first track called Mr. Ed, which I believe is like a little nod to his father.
Yeah, of course.
There's Van Halenisms in there without it being a complete rip-off of his dad. He's got his own style.
No, that's cool, man.
Yeah, to be able, as I say, the big thing for me is to be able to just move out of his father's shadow. It was massive.
I've not listened to the album. I know I'll definitely give it.
I'm not sure whether it'll be to your taste either. I don't know. It's hard.
I imagine it being quite sort of like. Do you know that Smith and Kotzen record? I imagine it being a lot better than that, but I imagine it being in that sort of vein. That sort of 80s, sort of like a bit 80s, a bit sort of sleazy, but a bit bluesy as well.
Not overly. It's not.
I'll definitely give it a listen.
Yeah, it's not what I expected it to be at all. He surprised me.
You're a big fan of it, then?
It's grown on me. Like, it's really grown on me over the last like week or so, and I think that's the mark of a good guitarist because I've got his riffs stuck in my head now. Like, I'm walking down the street and I'm humming his riffs,
doing air guitar in the co-op.
Yeah, like, and I haven't done this in a long time. He's made me enthusiastic about you know, like how he plays and his style and
what
stuff.
It's about, isn't it?
And this is it. That's what it's all about. And you know, when I was coming up with this list, and I was thinking every time, and it was like, well, I can't put him at 6th. I can't put him at 5th, and he's just moving up this list. You know,
I feel like he's snuck in there, and he's like, because you like you say, you just can't look past him.
No,
it's a big compliment.
So yeah, he's flown in at number 2. He's my number 2.
Fantastic. That's very interesting. My number 2 is you've already mentioned him. Is Mr. Scott Holiday of Rival Sons.
I thought he'd be your number 1.
Yeah, he's not, like you said, he's not got that technical ability for me that really sets me alight. Now, the thing with Scott that I think does make him like a legendary or an iconic guitarist is his guitar tone and his way of utilizing the guitar to serve what it needs to do in Rival Sons songs is it's not just riff based. Is makes him like if he played guitar in a different project, I know it was him. I'd notice him straight away. You know, he's got a very signature feel and sound to the way that he writes and the way that he plays, and I think that for me just makes him really iconic. You know, as a writer, he's just fucking awesome. And it's that thing with like a lot of it for me, obviously around pedals, you know, and like with having Novella in there and stuff, and Scott's got 3 different boards, and I love the fact that whatever he uses in the studio, he wants to do it live. He wants to give people, because if he sees a band, he's waiting for that one effect that he's used in a song, just one moment in the song, and he's waiting for that as a fan. And he knows there's people out there that are doing the same, and he wants to give them that. And I love that. I think that's so cool. He's a great slide player, but he's great at utilizing his slide in terms of the song. You know, not every Rival Sons song has a guitar solo, because not every Rival Sons song needs a guitar solo.
Yeah.
You know, and I just think in terms of what, for me as a guitarist, what guitarists make me want to be what guitarists inspire me. I suppose that's what a lot of my top 5 list is, and Scott's very high up on that list for me in terms of as a songwriter, as a performer, as a player, as an affectionado, which is a technical term.
That's a new word.
Yeah. Patent that. Sorry. Yeah. He's got everything. So yeah, Mr. Holiday.
No, I get it. I think with him, he's a guitarist, you know, like guitarist.
Yeah. He's not a spectacle to see for somebody who's perhaps not a guitarist.
Yeah,
you know?
that's what I'm saying. Like, because I don't dive deep into exactly everything he's doing because I'm not a guitarist, so I don't pick up on certain things perhaps. So I I probably look for, you know, bigger things, like, as I say, like big solos or something like that. That'll kind of that'll really grab me. But I completely respect him. He's in my top 10 for the influence that he's had, and you can see the influence he's had. So I can get why he's much higher up on your list. Number 1, we're getting seriously tough.
Just wait there. I don't think I can guess. I don't think I know who yours is going to be. I think everyone that I thought you'd have. Oh no, I do know who yours is going to be. I hope it's your number 1. Otherwise, I'm pretty sure I know yours.
Throughout the day today, I've been debating this number 1 because number 1 is such a big thing. I debated this longer than I did with the top 10 vocalists. It was tough, but I feel that this guy has really elevated himself over the last 4 or 5 years. And it'll be interesting to see post lockdown, like kind of country lockdown, when people can travel from country to country, where he's going to be in terms of the UK scene, because I want to see him come over here more. It's Philip Sace at number 1, which surprises me. But again, it came back down to this thing of I can't put him at number 5 because he has this real impact. Like, there's a rawness, there's this kind of Jimi Hendrix thing about him, but he's got his own kind of thing going on. And I love the way he plays. It was so he can't be number 5, he can't be number 4, can't be number 3. And I was jostling between 2 and 1. And I feel that he ticks all the boxes for me personally. He has the style that I really love. He essentially beats up his guitar when he plays it, like the roughness in how he plays it. It's mad. I don't really see anybody else in this current time play it the way he does. But he's got a very simple setup as well, where it's clean, isn't it? It's where it's just amp, guitar, and there's nothing else.
I think he's got a few pedals, but not a lot.
Yeah, there's not a lot going on though, is there?
No.
And I love that because it's a callback to that kind of very old school thing, and it's organic. It's what it is, and he does the Hendrix thing where he has his thumb over, where he plays with his thumb, and it's that kind of you know, like a lot of teachers will say, "Oh, he's doing it wrong." He's not playing it right, and there's that imperfection which I believe in itself makes it perfection. You know, it's all there to see. And I enjoyed his last album. I think it's a bit more mainstream than some of the other stuff that he's done recently. But I think again he's moving up those tiers. Yeah, I'm really excited to see where he's going to go next. But I think he's got it all. And in terms of his look as well, he's got this iconic look about him. Um,
He's
and
basically Stevie Ray Vaughan Mark II.
yeah,
Like Stevie copied a lot of Jimmy's, not copied, but was influenced by a lot of Jimmy's things. And
heavily.
I think
Yeah.
Philip's gear is and his sound is very similar to Stevie Ray Vaughan's, like amp-wise and stuff. But nobody can really recreate that, and Philip's probably the closest one to it. You know, like, I think it was me who showed you Philip Sage, and I like because as soon as I saw him, I was like, "This is Ryan's sort of player. This is
This
Ryan.
is it, though.
This is Philip's thing." You know, I think I completely agree, man. Like I say, he was on my list, and I kind of pulled him out at the last minute as a sort of just so I could get Tyler in there. And I mean, Philip, like when I see him, he makes me want to pick up.
He gets me excited about Like, I can't play guitar, and he makes me want to go. I want to have a go at this, and like when he's doing the solos, he's really expressive. Like he's like really so off his face, and he's like just going for it. And I love that.
Well, he plays really fixed strings. Because that's what Stevie did, like 13s, man, and they're so hard to play, and he makes it look effortless. You know, he's just a proper workhorse. I think the only like juxtaposition to that is he's not got a lot of sort of he's a very much a one trick pony. You know, I don't think he's very sort of like diverse. Do you know what I mean? Like we speak a lot about sort of.
Yeah, I think he does. He has a wheelhouse.
I mean, he's fucking immense at it.
Extremely good at, and I think it's perhaps because we don't see many of these kind of real top tier guitarists play like he does now. You know, in days gone by, we perhaps had quite a few. But for me personally anyway, I haven't seen anybody that plays to his level in that style today over the last like 10 years that hasn't existed for like 20 or 30 years already. So yeah, there's something about him which I think will mean he'll keep climbing that ladder. Yeah, he's exciting. He's a guy that I really want to see live because there's something 100%. Extra with him live. You can feel it in his videos. So yeah, he's an Instagram guy as well, isn't he?
Yeah, man. I mean, I found him on the gram because it was a similar thing where when you watch him, like you say, you just immediately similar to Jared, where you watch him and you can't help but be taken back by the spectacle of it.
Yeah,
because it's just so immense. Yeah, I mean, what do you reckon he'd fit over here? Because I don't imagine him being that popular in the UK. I think he could be sort of like Rescue Rooms Nottingham sort of thing, and then over time he'd build that following. You know.
Yeah, I would be interested to see where he is in terms of like the levels in America.
Yeah.
Because over here, every time I say Philip Sace, people know I'm on like some kind of crusade. People are like, who? But there is like every time I go, oh, it's this guy, and then I play something, everybody's like, fucking hell. Like he's really good. There's not anybody that's gone, nah. You know?
Yeah, it's impossible to go near to.
This is it. So it's for all of those reasons. He climbed up the tree, and he's my number one. And I want to see where it would be interesting to see where he would be in the UK. I do think he needs to climb the ladder here. So that's why I want to get on that train early, get like a nice cheap ticket in a small venue. So
he loves his cheap tickets. Just
so if you got any spare tickets, Philip, you know, I'll be there.
Yeah, we'll definitely go and see Philip State if he comes over, man. That'd be great. My number one is Marcus King.
Oh, of course. I was pondering this. I was like, there's got to be somebody.
I bet you thought that I'd most of what I'd gone through at that point is like, you'd have probably expected, like you say, Scott Halliday.
I was putting my money on Scott.
Yeah, I mean, Marcus. The thing with Marcus is it's that thing where when you see him play, it gets them emotions like Philip does and James
Mm.
Nichols. But his versatility and his for his age as well, like I think he's only about
Very
20,
young.
21, and he played like he did a few albums with the Marcus King band and then that El Dorado, their solo album, which is amazing, just unbelievable for his
Mm.
age, and just the songwriting is just immense. I spoke about it in terms of greatest frontmen, and greatest vocalist, and when the albums they did with the Marcus King band, the first album, it's the mixture and the height of musicianship is unbelievable. Like I'm just in awe
Mm.
of it. Like they have this song, which falls into jazz, and it's like
Yeah.
this blues jazz stuff, and
Real
he's just killing it.
versatile.
Yeah,
Mm.
but then when they did this live stream, they did a cover of Black Sabbath, like Into the Void,
I'm
and brought the
desperate to hear
Brett
this.
Hins. Oh, but it's
That's,
immense.
yeah.
Like, and he can do the metal, he can do the heavier stuff as well, you know.
Mm.
And like Brett Hins from Mastodon came on, and like Marcus
This is
is
madness.
absolutely shredding it.
Yeah.
Oh, this is it though. I think it's. I don't no matter what genre it is. I think people would see Marcus King and they'd just be in awe of him. Like he's just, and
Mm.
he's so classic looking. You know, he's like a young guy. Always wears big flamboyant hats.
Yeah,
Always looks
yeah.
cool. Plays a massive ES 345 red guitar that his dad used to play, and
Mm.
he's just his tone's amazing. And I know that I didn't see him on his last tour, but he was playing that sort of Rescue Rooms level, and they were all pretty much sold out. And I think the next tour
Mm.
he'll be moving up to Rock City and all of that. Like he's really on that. The past 2 years, he's just really pushed and broke through. That
Yeah.
El Dorado album, he recorded it with Dan Albrecht from the Black Keys, and it's just like I could genuinely think it's one of my favorite albums. It's definitely my top 20 favorite albums of all time, and
Wow.
that's a big list,
That
because
is, that's, yeah.
it's just like I have this thing right where I get in awe of songwriters. Where I
Mm.
think God that the amount of inspiration and the amount of ability that's applied to be able to put something across that really tells a story,
Mm.
as well as having all the musical nuances to give it the structure that it needs to be kind of like
Mm.
interesting and creative. And he just hits the top on all of that. You know, it's just
It's
like I feel
interesting because
like
he was high up in your vocalist category as well.
I put him on eye
Yeah.
on everything,
He's
any
very high
list.
up. Mm.
Yeah, I
In
just
terms, yeah, in terms of his like style, because I don't know a lot about him. Like I'm
mhm.
kind of surface level Marcus King at the minute.
Yeah, of course.
Like so in terms of his guitar setup, has he got like a mad setup or is it like a very clean
No,
kind
it's
of old school?
similar to Philip. You know,
Yeah.
it's that kind of blues thing. So it's a couple of pedals, really nice amp, very old
Mm.
guitar. You know, it's that kind of.
Like back to
Jared's very
basics.
similar.
Mm.
Yeah, there's that blues kind of player thing. Jared's very similar. Obviously,
Yeah.
Scott's completely the other way.
Yeah.
And the thing when you've got that, which is probably the similar thing where you love Philip, when you've not got a lot there, you've not
Mm.
got a lot to hide behind. You know,
Mm.
and if it's just you and the guitar pretty much, and if you can still floor people, like you don't
Yeah.
need numerous things in order to carry it because your ability just shines through, then I
Mm.
think that just makes it even more admirable. Like I say, I really respect people who don't play with a lot of gain, because I think it leaves yourself open to so much more,
Mm.
and he's
For those
just
that like,
fantastic.
yeah, for those that are like me who don't know a lot about guitar, um, what's the difference between somebody that's cranking up gain and somebody that's going with virtually none? So
So
like,
so when
mm,
so like Richie Faulkner with Priest, he'll
yeah,
have quite a lot of gain. Now, what
right,
that gives you is it gives you a really saturated and compressed tone, and that means you can do runs over strings and stuff quite easily,
mm,
like without, and if you make mistakes, it gets lost very quickly
right,
because there's a lot
yeah,
sort of like because it's a bit more compressed.
mm.
Philip Sace, his tone is very glassy, not that much gain, so it's very clear and very open.
So
So
if he
like
makes a mistake, you hear it
you
pretty
hear
much
it
straight away.
straight
Yeah,
away, because it's just there for all
yeah,
to hear, and it's because of the frequencies as well. When gain's quite distorted, not always the case, but when it's quite distorted, it sits lovely in the mix because you've got maybe another guitarist, So if you make a mistake again, like it falls into that. Whereas when you use like a glassy or clean tone, there's a lot more higher frequencies, so it sits right on top of everything else. Like everyone can hear it, everyone in the
yeah.
room is going to hear that. So it just leaves you a lot more open to them sort of things. It's
Brave thing to do, I think. In a
yeah,
sold
definitely.
out venue to just be like, as we said, like totally exposed.
Mm.
Um, So yeah, I do always have
Like the way
extra.
that I play, yeah, like the way that I play is I do a lot of ghost notes. So I do
Right.
like a thing where I'll do a run and I
Mm.
won't pick every string. So I'll prick it and I might put it the first two and let my fingers do a lot of the work because
Yeah.
I just like the feeling of that. It makes me feel quite like open and expressive. The problem with that, if you're not using a lot of gain,
Mm.
that probably wouldn't work because of the fact that you're relying on your fingers to tap onto because when you use a lot of gain, you get a lot of sustain as well.
Yeah.
You know, you can do a lot. You know, because you've got that energy and that sort of like compression again. So when it's clean, like you have to make sure you're picking every note to get that definition because there's nothing else carrying you apart from that definition. But it means if you play slower or quieter is a better word, not slower. If you play like less sensitive, it means it comes across as more dynamic. So
Mm.
there's a lot of things that have to go into doing that.
Yeah.
And I really admire people like Marcus and Philip who play with, and same with Jake from Greater Van Fleet who play with less game because I think overall it's harder. You have to work harder for your art, and there's a real
Mm.
beauty in that, definitely.
Mm. You have to really put in a shift if you're doing like a 2.5 hour set.
Oh, you'd be knackered, man.
Yeah.
Fucking knackered. But it all depends, if you like, obviously Philip's probably massively inspired he must be by Stevie Ray, so he's
Oh
probably
yeah.
spent his whole life wanting to recreate that sort of them sort of characteristics, so
Mm.
he's earned it and wanted that.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally get it. I just yeah, I just like for those that are like me that perhaps get lost when they hear people talk about gain. I thought it was a thing to kind of touch
Asking me any questions about guitar. I mean, I'm always
on.
gonna
What's
jump at
that?
the
Like a shout?
opportunity. Oh, what's that? What's that?
But yes, that is our top 10. It's a surprising top 10 for me.
Yeah, and for me as well.
And I
Yeah.
made it, But but yeah, if you like what we're doing, you can follow us on Facebook, where every Wednesday we'll reveal our new guest for the podcast that we have that comes out on a Saturday at 10 a.m. Doesn't it?
Just done it, Aaron. Just
Yeah.
done it. Tell him, Aaron.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it does. I can confirm that
Yeah.
he's
It
telling
wasn't
the
a
truth.
lie.
Yes,
Yeah.
it wasn't a lie.
Yeah.
And if you are watching this on YouTube, make sure you go down, subscribe, click the bell so you don't miss an episode. We do extra vibes every week alongside our normal full episode where we interview a different person from across the rock scene, as Mr. Vasey just informed you of. So make sure you get involved and join the vibe.
Yeah, this is it. And it can literally be anybody because at the time of recording this anyway, last week we had Richard Shaw on of Cradle of Filth, who I will give an honourable mention to on this list just now because we spoke about in his
massive
interview,
breakthrough.
Real big breakthrough, and he's so versatile in the way he plays. And yeah, if you want to go and check that video out, we talk about that in depth. So yeah, go and check that one out in particular. It's a very interesting chat. But yes,
big shout out.
Yeah, big shout out to Richard there. But yes, that is it for Extra Vibes. Tune in next time and tune in Saturday at 10 a.m. We'll see you next time.